All right, guys. Well, we are in Rome. When in Rome, you gotta go see the Colosseum. So that's where we're on our way to. Man, who would have thought that 3 weeks of continuous travel will wear you down? But they do. You know, our little hotel is right by Spanish Steps. And what they don't tell you is that if you take a metro out of the rail station, it places you very nicely at the very bottom of the Spanish Stairs. Now, the whole concept of the Spanish Stairs was that it was a humongous step structure that you can get from lower level of Rome to a much higher level of Rome. There's no elevator, so if you get there with 4 30-kilo bags, be prepared to haul them up over the Spanish Stairs, which is not fun. So definitely feeling the burn today. That's what we did last night, but I gotta keep going. Only one day in Rome, so yeah. Sorry, I'm just a little tired, to be quite honest, but anyway. Well, we're gonna do mostly ancient Rome walk today, and I'm really excited to show you some of these things. Like, you know, just to realize that, you know, you're standing in Rome, the city that was a center of Roman Empire for more than 1,000 years. It's just so incredible. You know, this was the center of old pagan Roman Empire, and then it was the center of the Italy that gave us Renaissance. It was one of the most strong states, republics here in Italy, and it's just incredible to imagine that this is where it happened. Like, literally, these streets were where Roman emperors stroll, where the processions were done, where prayers to the old gods, old Greek-Roman gods were performed. It is like I'm still having a hard time comprehending just where I am, but it should be really interesting. Anyway, let's go on a little walk, and as we come up to these things, I'll show you guys a few things, a few interesting facts. Let's go explore. Well, here we are, walking the streets of Rome, the city to which all roads lead to. Well, at least used to. That's actually not just a saying. You know, back in the day, Rome being the capital of the Roman Empire, all the roads would actually lead to Rome, one way or another, in that empire, and it used to be the heart of it all. So here we are. All right, guys, so as we're walking up to Colosseum, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about it. I'm sure, of course, all of you have seen it in some photo or maybe in a movie, but well, a few little facts about it. So basically, it dates all the way back to 72 AD. So it's a little bit less than 2,000 years old, and it was actually built, you know, after, like, when you think of, let's say, Caesar, it's built after him. So when Caesar was around, he would not have seen the Colosseum because it was not there. He was assassinated some 100 years before it even started to get built. So in comes the Emperor Vespasian, and he starts building it. Then he dies, and then his son Titus finishes it in the 80 AD. And it's a very unique building because it is, for its time, it was revolutionary. It is said that 20,000 people could walk in and vacate the Colosseum in less than 15 minutes. So you can imagine how efficiently it was built. It's close to a 25-story building, so very high. Unfortunately, what we see today is only 1/3 of our Colosseum. So 2/3 have been lost to history. So even when we're going to take a look at it, it's only 1/3 of what it was originally. interesting thing to remember is, of course, it was built by like thousands of slaves. Some say as much as 10,000 slaves worked in it, and you know, there's a lot of sinister things that went along with it. In some days, it said that up to 10,000 animals would be killed in some of the games on certain celebration days, as well as numerous people. You know, now gladiators, they weren't just, you know, kind of kamikazes. They were called kings of entertainment. Gladiators were venerated. In fact, gladiator sweat was collected, and it was known as an aphrodisiac. So men could, I guess, use it somehow to boost their stamina. You know, they were basically rock stars of the age. It's quite a unique phenomenon. But of course, a lot of times they did die, but they didn't always fight till death. So if you see like Gladiator, when the movie Gladiator, when they always die, it wasn't always like that. But of course, there was a lot of that. And you know, we have some even interesting instances where emperors, like Emperors Commodus, would be so hubris and so you know, so ego-driven that he would sort of fight these gladiators. Of course, it wouldn't be a fair fight. They would have like wooden swords, and he would have a actual metal one, and of course it would be rigged. But you know, it's quite an interesting history to it. And to attend the Colosseum, if you didn't have any money, was free. So it was, why it was built, it was a tool for the emperors to increase their popularity, to basically control the political agenda. So, you know, kind of, if you give people enough thrills and bread, they will sort of overlook some of the downfalls and atrocities that you might do as an emperor. So that was the whole point of Colosseum, sort of distract people and to keep them entertained. So if you don't have money, you could actually get free access, and sometimes there was even free food, but as long as you were a Roman citizen. So very interesting. It's the oldest amphitheater, which is, amphitheater means theater from both sides. You know, old Greeks would they would have theaters on one side and then stage in the center, but this was one of the first ones where they had the stage in the center, and then the seats were all around it, so you can more than double your attendance. It's gonna be really cool. And it is the #1 visited tourist place in the world. So quite a unique experience we're gonna get by visiting it and looking at it. Quite excited. So let's go check it out. As we're walking up to the Colosseum, here's the different parts of the Forum. Now the Forum is the oldest part of the city of Rome. It is where the ancient Roman structures are clustered. This used to be the City Central during these ancient Roman times. And some of them are actually blocked off, so you can't go in. I'm not sure, and different parts of Forum belonged to different ages and were built under different emperors. So I'm not sure which one this one is, but just wanted to give you a brief look at this one as we keep going further to the Colosseum. Here we guys are, look at this, turning the corner, and there it is, the Colosseum. Oh man, I am excited. You know what? It's sort of smaller than I expected, but maybe we're just looking at a different side. Okay, let's walk up a little closer. By the way, little tip: if you come to Italy, you'll be surprised a little. So you usually can't buy tickets on spot. For whatever reason, it is all sold out. However, if you are willing to join a tour for twice the price, there's always tickets. So it appears to me that the tour guides sort of just buy all the tickets in bulk, and that leaves the number of just single tickets bought by private people to very minimal. I don't quite like it, but that's just the way it is. It's the same really in most places you go in Italy. The only place I didn't see that was Venice, but Florence and Rome are definitely operate like that. Also, I wanted to show you these. Well, I don't know if you can see it from here, but there's people walking everywhere, and they have these little shitty trinkets that they try to give it to you. And the strategy they use is they would give you like this little bracelet, and you say, no, I don't want it. And they'll be, no, but it's all good. It's free. They literally put it on your arm and say, oh yeah, bro, it's it's free. And they walk away, and then they come back and be like, okay, but like maybe give me like something for it. Do you have like 1 or 2 or 3 euros? And when you eventually say, no, I don't have any cash on me, they say, well, give it back, and they take it back. So it's a really popular strategy here in Italy. They will just give it to you for free, and then kind of make you guilty and beg you for some money back, and if you don't, they'll take it back actually. So don't be surprised by that. Alright, so we're just walking up the stairs. Something similar to what the ancient Romans would do themselves to get to their seats. This is so neat. Wow. Oh, more stairs. Great. Right, we are inside. Look at this cool stuff. Oh man, we're inside the Roman Colosseum. Oh man, oh, look at that. So you can just imagine the seats and how people would just come up these stairs here, and there would be chairs here hoisted for them. Wow. Well, here we are, looking in the very center of the Colosseum. How cool is that? This is where it all happened, right here in the center. As you can see, there's elaborate rooms underneath the stage. This is where, the animals, different animals would be kept. They had giraffes and lions and hippos and whatnot, right? And then you have, of course, gladiator headquarters. And then around here you can see this is where people would sit around the stage, and I guess the closer you are, the more important or rich you would be. But I just wanted to give you a look at this. This is pretty impressive. And just to remember that this is only 1/3 of what it was like. As you can see, here's the highest wall here, and then the rest is quite little. So wow, look at that. So neat. The real thing. Also, guys, what you're looking at, you see where the cross is? Just zoom in. This is where the emperor would sit and watch over the games, right there. So right next to the stage. And then next to him would be his senators and famous politicians. And then sort of as you go up, you would get to the free tickets. And this is where, you know, regular people would sit. And then on the very top, you would have women who were somewhat of a second-class citizens in ancient Rome. So yeah, it's very hierarchical design. And of course, as is today with any arena or stadium, the most important and rich people would be closest to the stage, right there in the center. It's a little windy here, but I just wanted to show you the Colosseum from this view, because you can really see all these rooms down there quite nicely. But you know what? These walls are relatively new, because prior to having them here, what you would have there is a gigantic hole. And that was done due to the fact that not only did they have the gladiator fights here, but they also did big ship battle reenactments. So they would literally fill up that whole thing with water and have almost life-size ships fighting each other in front of all these spectators right here. So can you imagine what that would look like? You know, like actual ships just fighting in front of you. And looked like it might have got bloody, and people did die just like in any other thing. So, but right here, you see those little arches on the bottom? That's where the animals would be let in. And it would be a variety of animals. So it would be like panthers, lions, crocodiles. You know, they would bring them from all over Roman Empire and basically just let them out and see gladiators fight with them. So must have been a spectacle. And then in the center, the elongated walkways, that's where the gladiators would come up. So they would come up from the center, and then the animals would come up from the sides. And a fun fact the tour guide said here is that on top of this there was a wooden floor, but on top of the wooden floor there was a layer of sand, and that sand is called arena in Spanish. And this is supposedly where, you know, when we say, oh, there's a arena, that's what it goes back to, the sand that was placed here in the Colosseum. There you go. Pretty neat. Wow. Can you imagine the things that happen here? The bloody battles, the decapitations, the you know, this is, by the way, this is where the Christian martyrs would be brought to, and then, you know, fed to the lions and, you know, executed and really burned. Like they were creative back in the day with these tormenting techniques. But yeah, this is where it all happened, literally right here. So I just wanted to show you guys something. You see those white seats right there? This is basically what all the other seats would look like. So you can imagine, you see all these blank spots? This is where these white marble seats would surround this whole thing. So you can just imagine how beautiful it looked in its prime. You know, these white stones gleaming in the sun. There's this, you know, gladiators saluting you before they die, and they're fighting to death, and the emperor would sit there and watch it. And then sometimes it would be up to him if the gladiator was to be finished. Like, let's say he was wounded, so the other gladiator would turn around to face the emperor and ask him yes or nay, sort of thing, and then he would decide what was the fate of that gladiator. But yeah, this is really neat. All right, guys. Well, this is a beautiful view here from the from the Colosseum, you can see the Constantine's Ark that we saw earlier. And then overlooking there is the Roman Forum. So there we have a remnants of a few temples, and then in the background there's another ark. It's very interesting. We'll walk up close to that one. It's Ark of Titus, and it's dedicated to defeating the Jews in the Judea during their rebellion. So very interested ark. We'll go up closer later on. Says we exit, we get a really nice up close view of these chambers underneath the ground. Look at that. Wow. All right, well, Italy is a funky country. So let's say you bought a ticket with a tour guide. They don't actually give you a ticket. So if you lose your tour guide, which you might, especially because some of them don't stop at the places where you want, then you can't get to the next location because nobody gave you a ticket. It's a mess, to be quite honest. I think it's a little bit mismanaged. Like, you can buy tickets online. It's been closed. Sorry, you can only buy them online. In-person stores have been closed since COVID and never reopened, so I don't know. It's a mess, but it's okay. So here, behind this fence, to which we can't go because nobody gave us a freaking ticket, but behind this fence you can see a Ark of Titus. It's a victorious ark for quenching a rebellion in Judea, and if we were able to get closer to it, you would see Roman soldiers carrying away menorahs, sort of as a sign of, defeated, looted Judea. So there we go. So perhaps next time you're here, maybe next time I'm here, we'll see it up close, but that's what it is.